Hey designers, we are to D4 and let's start with the strand. D4 says explain the impact of the solution on the client and target audience. Now that becomes a little interesting with our product potentially if you have a consumer and a client that you're working for, and we'll talk about that as we go along. What I've designed for you is a paragraph, and this can be oral. I have created an outline for you, and you can just drop things into the outline. So if you do it orally, you don't have to write the paragraph, or if you're like me and you would rather write the paragraph, you can do that as well. First, let's go over what is going to be in the paragraph, and then we'll look at this outline below. You're going to start your paragraph with a topic sentence. So restate your problem statement opening sentence. Remember in A1 where you had that formula where you said, let's see, vintage, enthusiast need, your kind of podcast, blah, blah, blah. That's what we're looking for. So you should be able to find that in A1 or potentially on your A summative. Remember, you should always be thinking about the things that we've done, the research we've done, the ideas that we've already gathered, and you continue to use those and make them bigger as you go along. So we're revisiting that original idea. Who is our target consumer here? Restate your problem statement opening sentence to be a topic sentence. You're going to name that target audience. You're going to be specific again. It's not just people out there. Who are your target audience? Who are your target consumers? Now you're also going to state a claim based on your testing results. So this is your own idea based on what you have learned from your testing. All right? So you did a little research in the beginning to make sure that there would be a target audience. You did some primary and some secondary research. Now you've done some testing with that product and you've gotten some feedback, maybe not from your target audience, but use that to infer something important here, that claim based on what you've learned. Will your product be successful with your target audience? After you've created that statement, you're going to explain your topic sentence. So outline relevant information you learned from your testing from D1, D2, D3, and that supports why your product is important to both the user, remember that's your consumer, and also your client, whoever hired you. In some products, that will be the same person. Potentially who will use your product is your client. In some products, you will have the consumer is somebody that will use your product, where your client is the company or that person that hired you to create the product. So you're going to explain your topic sentence and support why this is important, this product, to both your user as well as your client. Remember, in the topic sentence, you named just your user. Now you're naming both. You will need an in-text citation for primary research you did. So if you're citing or you have information here about survey or you have an information based on an interview you did with your testing, you'll need to put that here. Why is this topic important to the client that hired you to influence a particular target market? So that's what the idea that you will also use to explain that topic sentence. Next, you're going to state your evidence. So you can do this in a number of ways. I would like you to consider the product evaluation against your criteria. That's good evidence. Maybe your product strength. That's evidence. Potentially an example of the impact of your product on your user test sample. That's all great evidence. You can use one or a combination of those. Next, you're going to explain what that indicates. So you have that evidence. What does that evidence mean? You have to interpret it for me. Tell me what I'm supposed to understand from your evidence. And then finally, a conclusion. Remember, this is a paragraph. It's pretty short. Your conclusion rewords and restates that topic opening sentence about how the product's important to your client, your consumer, why it's an important topic. And I would also like you to include, did you learn anything from early research that you did on COVID or on the current situation that indicates that this target market should be promoted, that will also benefit from your product? So wrap that all up. It does not have to be very long. I have a little sentence here. It's not great. You know, sometimes my exemplars aren't great, and I ask students to help me. So hopefully somebody will help me refine this, maybe you. But I created a topic sentence here. I've got little reminders underneath in this graphic organizer, and it says restate the problem statement opening sentence to include claim based on your testing results. So I reframed my opening statement from A1, and it says teenage travel enthusiasts will upload the Happy Mappy Travel podcast because testing indicates that it has both high quality sound and topics travel-bound teenagers will enjoy. That comes from my testing. That's my opening statement. And as I go along, I will support that. And hopefully even that wrap-up sentence says why this is important, not only to the client and the consumer, but even bigger than that. It's important to everybody to support this target market niche because the situation is dire right now. So that's what you're going to do in your paragraph. I hope it doesn't take you very long. Again, remember, there are a couple avenues for this. You are doing an oral presentation. If you like to use an outline like this, and you don't have to write word for word, but you can also write it all up and practice. And I will tell you all about the oral presentation in the next video. See you in D Summative.